There are 6 types of different project managers. They all have the same title on LinkedIn. They all say project manager on their resume, but the work they do day to day is completely different. And the pay difference between the first type and the last type is massive. So in this video, I'm going to walk you guys through the 6 most common types of project managers, ranked from least paid to most paid. And I'll explain what each type actually does, what the work really looks like, the kind of jobs you'd be applying for, and how much each one makes. The first type is what I call the accidental project manager. This is the most common starting point, and a lot of people don't even realize that they're in this role. The accidental project manager is usually someone who became the project person without ever applying for a project manager job. You're organized, you follow up, you make sure things don't fall apart, and over time, people have just started to trust you and rely on you, and so now you're the one scheduling the meetings, sending the follow-ups, tracking action items, updating spreadsheets, and making sure everyone knows what's going on. You're still not making the big decisions, but if you stop showing up, everything would immediately start to fall apart and feel chaotic. Now, the day-to-day work here is very coordination heavy. You're keeping things moving, but you're not really driving the direction of the project. You don't own the budget. You don't make trade-offs. You don't decide what gets cut when timelines are slipping. You're still just supporting the project. You're not owning it. Job titles in this category usually sound like project coordinator or implementation coordinator, maybe PMO coordinator, or sometimes even junior PM. And in terms of pay, this is generally the lowest paid lane in project management. And in the US, this tier often sits somewhere around the entry to early career range, paying anywhere between $50,000 to $80,000 per year. It's stable, but your pay will get capped very quickly here if you stay here for too long. The second type of project manager is the creative project manager. This is the project manager you'll find in marketing teams and creative agencies, on brand teams, or on content organization teams. Instead of managing technical or construction sites, you're managing creative output, campaigns, content, websites, design work, launches. Your job is to take creative ideas and turn it into a realistic timeline that actually gets delivered. Day to day, you're managing briefs, you're managing deadlines, approvals, revisions, and you're typically waiting for stakeholder feedback. And a big part of the job is just protecting the team from continuous creative changes while still keeping clients and internal stakeholders happy. The work here is very people driven. You're dealing with opinions, subjectivity, last minute changes, because again, we're dealing with like creative stuff here, like images and videos. So the pressure here in this type of PM role doesn't really come from like technical complexity. It comes from alignment. You're working in environments where success is subjective, right? Different stakeholders have different opinions, different tastes, or different expectation of what good looks like. As the creative PM, you're the one responsible for keeping everyone pointed in the same direction, even when opinions shift or are shifting mid-project. And so common job titles here include like creative project manager, marketing project manager, production project manager, or even campaign project manager. And in terms of pay, creative project managers usually sit above coordinators, but below technical or enterprise PM roles. In the US, this lane often lands somewhere in the mid-range, with many roles clustering around the mid 5-figure to low 6-figure mark, depending on experience and company. And so typically you can expect around 75 to 110K in this type of creative PM role. The third type of project manager is the construction project manager. And so now we're entering a completely different world. Construction project managers are responsible for physical projects like buildings, renovations, and infrastructure, permits, inspections, safety. And in construction project management, the problems here are very real and very visible very quickly. If something is late, like materials don't arrive on time, you can just see it. If something is wrong, like you built a door that's too small, you can literally go and touch it. So day-to-day construction PMs are typically coordinating with contractors, managing schedules, handling procurement, dealing with inspections and safety related and compliance related type issues. And they also have to resolve a lot of on-site issues, which is one of the reasons I personally hate project management, construction project management, because it actually requires you to be on-site quite a bit, and there's not much remote opportunities in construction PM. The pressure as a construction PM is high, but because you're dealing with tangible things, there's no or little to no subjectivity. Either the building was built correctly, it was built to code, or it wasn't, period. Like there's no distinction there. Job titles in the construction world include construction project manager, site project manager, or sometimes even project engineering manager. And in terms of pay, construction project management is actually one of the fastest ways into a 6-figure career, especially as you gain more experience. So the average pay for construction PMs are typically around 125K, and they can vary based on experience. The fourth type of project manager is the business or operations project manager. This is the project manager who typically runs internal change. You're not building new software, you're not building buildings, you're just simply improving how businesses work. That means rolling out new processes, implementing internal tools, or improving workflows, or leading operational transformations across different departments. And on a day-to-day, this role is very cross-functional. You're working with HR, finance, operations, leadership, vendors, and sometimes even IT. And your job is just to take a very messy current state and guide the organization towards a better future state. And so naturally, a lot of the work here is stakeholder alignment. You're making sure people agree on how things should work, and then making sure that that is implemented and that people actually follow the new process once it's live. The pressure in these types of PM roles isn't speed, it's usually adoption. If people don't buy into the project and adopt the new changes or new processes, the project can technically finish, but nothing has really changed. Hasn't been any improvement to the organization. And common job titles in this type of PM role include operations project manager, business project manager, transformation PM, or continuous improvement project manager. And pays in this type of role are typically quite good and stable. In the US, many roles cluster around the low to mid six figure, anywhere between 100 to 150K, especially in larger organizations or in regulated industries. And I would say that this business PM role is very good for people who enjoy systems thinking and process improvement and making organizations run better over time. The fifth type of project manager is the technical project manager. This is where compensation usually jumps up quite a bit. A technical project manager is someone who manages technical delivery without necessarily being a hands-on engineer. You don't need to code, but you cannot be lost when the development team or technical team is having a conversation. You need to understand how systems fit together. You need to understand dependencies and why a small technical change can create like 5 downstream problems. Day to day, as a technical PM, you're working very closely with the engineering team, with the product team, the technical teams, and you're typically dealing with software, managing releases, managing new integrations, or working on new application build. A lot of the job as a technical PM is just translating technical complexity into decisions that you can justify and communicate. You help teams prioritize, sequence work, and avoid technical disasters before they happen. And the pressure for technical PM usually comes from ambiguity, and you're constantly having to balance speed versus quality. Common job titles include technical project manager, TPM, or sometimes delivery manager, depending on the company that you're working for. And finally, in terms of pay, technical PMs can make quite a bit more than general PM roles. In the US, technical project managers often sit well into the 6-figure range, making anywhere between 130 to 190K per year. The sixth type of project manager is the IT or enterprise project manager. This PM handles large-scale delivery inside big organizations. Think about ERP implementation, system migrations, enterprise infrastructure, security programs, multi-vendor rollouts. These projects affect the entire organization, not just one team. And on a day-to-day basis, this role is less about tasks and it's more about governance. You're running steering committee meetings, you're managing vendors, you're tracking budgets, you're handling risk and compliance, and you're communicating with executives. You're making decisions that could affect thousands of users and millions of dollars. The complexity here is usually not technical, although it could be. The complexity is usually coordination at scale, and also internal politics, conflicting priorities, and vendor contracts. Common job titles in this kind of domain include IT project manager, enterprise project manager, and sometimes even program manager. Now, this PM lane typically has the highest ceiling when it comes to pay because it also carries the most risk and the most responsibility. In the US, senior enterprise PMs regularly sit deep into the 6 figures, especially in regulated or global environments. So as a working IT PM myself, my salaries have ranged from 170K all the way to 240K as an IT PM on contract. This role rewards people who can stay calm under pressure, who can communicate clearly with executives, and can manage complexity without losing control. So there you have it. Those are the 6 types of project managers ranked from least to most paid. If you're trying to get into project management, the smartest move isn't asking how do I become a PM, it's asking which type of PM do I actually want to become. And my recommendation is, and I'm not being biased here, is IT project manager. So, hey, if you guys like this video, if you like this kind of breakdown, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. And before I forget, if you're interested in gaining real IT project management experience, the kind that actually pays hundreds of thousands of dollars, then I invite you to check the link out below this video where you can get real hands-on IT project management exposure and possibly become a project manager yourself.